Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our weekly Facebook Live every Wednesday at 9 p.m. We talk travel and we discuss one particular episode as well as behind the scenes and just kind of like what went on so you understand the production, everything that kind of goes into, not just kind of, everything that does go into creating a travel show, which we hope to get back on the road soon and produce more travel shows for you. Our episode was supposed to be Big Sur and Monterey. And we decided to postpone that for now because of what is happening out west with the wildfires. And with that, I would really like to give a shout out to one of our top fans, Colleen Casey, right? Mm-hmm. And because she actually reached out to us and said, hey, do you guys, might want to rethink this. And I'm so glad because I was just so on, like blinders on. Of course, I totally understand what's going on out west, but I didn't put the two together. So I really appreciate the fact that here we have become a community and you look out for us and we look out for you. And so we decided, no, she made a really great point. Because at first I was like, well, maybe we lean into it and we support the people that are part of this episode because they're going through a really tough time. But then we just thought, let's put it off so that we can then rejoin the people who we featured, maybe have a couple come back on and see how they're doing. And because there's a lot of great people in that episode. And we want to make sure we're supporting them every way. For us, Places to Love is just a light that we want to shine on small businesses, the local businesses that, when you travel, you keep money into the local community. That's one of the most sustainable efforts we can do as travelers. So we're really proud of that. And so we want to make sure that the people we featured and everyone right now in California just send out a big hearty hello and our prayers. Our thoughts are with you at this really phenomenally difficult time. It's like not only do you have to go through a pandemic, but also wildfires. My goodness. It's like I just think of that song, Tell Me Something Good, by Rufus and Shaka Khan. Who wrote that song? Do you know who wrote that song?
No.
Stevie Wonder.
Wow.
Stevie Wonder wrote that song. Yeah. We have a thing about Stevie Wonder where there's a lot of trivia that we do. Stevie Wonder, of course, got a lot of, best musician ever. Anyway, so we went from wildfires to Stevie Wonder. I digress. But anyway, and I know right now my stylist is watching, Christina Burns. She's out of Santa Barbara, and 3 years ago, we were dealing with this exact same thing. She had to evacuate, move her whole family to a hotel, and so now it's all coming back again. And so it's a really tough time. So again, tell me something good. Let's talk about something good in the world. And
one just bit of housekeeping. We are having pretty bad internet issues right now, so if we do cut out, we'll try our best to get back online, but it's been kind of spotty all day. We're hoping that we can get through this tonight, and fingers are crossed.
Right behind the wall is an elephant. It's like Fred Flintstone. And he's like, I'm exhausted, like they was had like a huge mammal behind, like working the shower and everything. And you find out how things work. There's a rhinoceros in the next room and he's not doing well. He's not picking up his signal on his horn. The internets. We have, Xi'an, I have to tell you, is one of my easily, hands down, favorite places in the world. This would be the second time I had traveled there to shoot an episode. I was there for a good 2 weeks with the Travel Channel in 2007 and had a phenomenal time, fell in love with the city. And one thing I love about Xi'an, which I think really distinguishes itself from other cities in Beijing, and why I think if you get a chance to go to China, you go to Xi'an, absolutely, because Xi'an used to be a capital. I think it was 11th century, a capital of China, and it has a wall around it. And now it's grown outside of the wall, of course. It's a massive city, yet so much of it is within those walls. And so unlike Beijing or Chengdu, you could walk forever and get lost and not know where you are. But what I loved about Xi'an is I would go for a walk and I would just hit a wall and I would turn around and go the other way. I felt like a toddler, like in a little cage. It's like I just went to the end of my little barrier and walked around, and I just I loved it. I absolutely love it. And you know what I realized? I have the key to Xi'an. I was presented the key to Xi'an. Did I ever
Really?
tell you that? And I can't find it, so I can't find my keys. I can't find my keys to my apartment sometimes, and I've lost my keys to a city.
Who has our spare key to the city of
I don't
Xi'an?
know, but we are not getting in. Maybe that's how we get in these days. But I don't have a visa, and I'm sure you're not allowing us to travel in your country. But I got a key, so I've got to find a key. I was presented a key to Xi'an. So again, great city. And so we will be showing you our Places to Love episode. And for that, we have a special guest today. I mean, like, super, super special.
So special, we're going to them before we even show the episode.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Because usually we talk to the people who were instrumental within the episode. And this is just a person who's been instrumental, not only with this episode, but every single episode of Places to Love. We know without a doubt, Kevin and I, that without this person, there would be no Places to Love. He has been instrumental in my entire life as a host. He was my very first editor, and we never looked back. For 17 years, David Dean has been in my life. So let's bring David Dean up. He looks fantastic. Hello! Hey, good looking. Oh,
Hello.
wow! Oh my gosh.
I am out of my closet at last.
Oh, I must say you have in terms of your depth of field, David, right now, like what we're seeing behind you, the bookcases, the posters, it's brilliant, perfect, really, really nice.
Yep, and there's my Telly Award for editing this very episode. Right there.
Wonderful.
You
Yes.
got your Emmy, I've got my Telly.
Yes, exactly. And this is why we have the Emmys here, because and David will talk about this process. When you submit for the Emmys, you submit one episode to sort of represent your body of work, for that. And so you pick that body of work that you feel really shows you off as your best work. And we all agreed that it was Xi'an, just because of the mysterious nature of it, the foreign nature of it, and yet we were able to show it in a familiar, in a way that we connected with the people as if it wasn't so foreign and unfamiliar. And that's why we love the episode. So that's how Emmys work. You submit one episode, and so we thought we'd show you the girls. The girls are all out. I received 2, one for best host because of the episode, one for best and then best show. And then Kevin got an honorary participation award Emmy.
Nice.
What?
Well, he makes fun of my cheerleading award from my high school days. He's like, is that a participation cheerleading award? Because for a while, David, I don't know if you noticed in our earlier Facebook days, I would put my old cheerleading trophy from high school up on our mantle just to kind of be there in spirit for my Emmys because I didn't have them. Kevin, of course, is the executive producer of the series, and so he gets one too. So, David, explain to us what's really, because David, you have been a judge of the Emmys.
I have. Yeah, and the thing about it is, and this is not just our category, but any category, actors especially, you are only supposed to submit one episode. And as a judge, you're not supposed to think about any other episode of the show you've ever seen. You have to look at just this compared to the other 4 nominees, which is why sometimes an actor will win an Emmy for that very special episode, that isn't representative of the whole thing, of the entire season. So we submitted Xi'an, justifiably so. And we were up against 4 other single episodes, and the judges are not supposed to think of any other episode they've seen of the shows.
Of Places to Love. So even if they were a fan of Places to Love, right? So that that kind of falls along with the judicial system. Judicial. Oh my gosh.
Judge-like.
I think I have Lyme disease. They say if you can't say words, you might have Lyme disease.
Oh no, not the tick again.
Oh my gosh, you have no idea what happened this past weekend. Anyway, a lot of ticks. Anyway, glad we're back in New York City. But no, that there's a body of evidence, right? And you can't look beyond the body of evidence. You're there to look at that, and that's only. But I guess I understand that because it could be overwhelming, right? If you are in that position. So anyway,
it also helps that this particular episode is just A+. I mean, this is one of the best, if not the best episode we've done. in
Yeah,
this show.
I
Every
agree. 3 years
single
later.
sequence. Yeah, every single sequence is an A sequence,
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and it all plays, and
And I think that really, for me, because you're on the editing side, and then as sort of the host side, I just feel like China itself delivers. It's a fascinating place. Kevin and I have talked about this before. It's one of our favorite places to shoot. People that are there just are want to show up. They are phenomenal to work with. We always work with a team in China to help us around because obviously there's a huge language barrier. Mm-hmm. There are cultural barriers, and we need to know them to be respectful. And we have only ever had outstanding experiences as a film crew, which as we know, and as you know, David, that is not always the case. And we just keep those experiences to ourselves sometimes when there's just total difficulty on just being in a place, how we're treated, not necessarily how we're treated, but just the difficulty of it all. China just, I love being there, I love working there, and it's just it always delivers. You always know you're going to have a really good show. So.
Well, I can confirm that because before we went on today, I plugged in the old hard drive and I just looked at everything that we shot there, and it's all good.
Yeah.
Because you can do that because you're David Dean, the editor.
That's right. No one knows this footage better than I do, and but it's great. I mean, the footage is beautifully shot. This is a beautifully shot episode. Brian Miller, our standard director of photography, and David Tong was great Chinese second camera, and he has an eye. They have eyes. They've got great eyes in this, and you're going to see that in this episode. Not just the stuff where we focus on Sam and the person she's with, but when you get like to the Terracotta Warriors section, look at the shots. I mean, look at the way that they're depicting these figures. It's gorgeous. It's truly gorgeous, and that's why this is one of our best episodes.
Well, before we get any further, we have to talk about our cocktail tonight, and because we're kind of scrambling last minute. Honestly, whenever I'm in China, I drink beer. There is a somewhat cocktail scene there, but I just always feel like I drink beer. It's great. It's great with Chinese food. So, David, do you have a beer?
Actually, I'll tell you. I live in Northeast Florida, and when I was invited to do this tonight, at the last minute, I said, "Well, I got to get some Chinese beer." And I couldn't find any. I couldn't find any Chinese beer where I live. So instead of drinking beer from China, I'm drinking beer in China.
Nice. That's impressive. That is impressive. I love it. That is.
Nice. Some fun things about David is that up until the very end, all of the voiceover on our TV show is David's voice. And so...
What? Oh, she almost got a spit take from Samantha on that? Yeah. What? Go on.
So it's only at the very end, Sam will go into a studio and record the nice VO you hear. But I actually prefer David's VO.
I totally agree with you. And believe me, there are times where when I'm doing the voiceover, I do it again and again to try to get David's inflection. You have like a folksiness, but it's not condescending. It's comfortable. It's kind of like David. You've kind of got that, but it's not. It's kind of like that Pepperidge Farm voiceover. Well, summer's here. 120 days of kicking it. But it's not too hoaxy. Is that the word? Like, yeah. But it has some gravitas. So I try to do your inflection.
I'm trying to sound like you. I'm trying to say, how would Sam say this? So she doesn't have so much to do. When she goes into the studio. Oh gosh, Pepperidge Farm. Jeez.
Do you remember that commercial?
Of course I do.
He probably cut it.
Well, it's official. Summer's here.
I remember.
I don't know if
Come
you
on,
know
let's-
this as well, Samantha.
Uh-oh.
Do you know my nickname for David?
What's your nickname for David?
I do.
What's your
Redial.
Redial? Oh,
Because
my.
when we're in like post hell of just delivering episodes every week, and there's some due today and something else for next week, it's just all I ever do is just hit the redial button on my phone and it rings David.
Oh, Kevin, is that you? Kevin. Oh, here comes Kevin.
Yeah, and you can tell how stressed he is by how he says, "Hello."
Hello.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And I
All
will
right.
say, I always know, when David gets a little ticked off at me.
Uh-oh.
He just raises his voice just a little, and I immediately just want to make it better. Where sometimes I get a bit of an attitude. I'm like, excuse me? But when David tells me anything, I'm like, oh, okay. Like the last one, David, was when we were doing the Sufferers, right? In Houston, sorry. And you were like, and we were talking about something else, and you were like, I'm so sorry. I just have to say it, Samantha. It's the Sufferers. It is not the Sufferers. It is the Suffers. And I like, get it right. And he was you're right. I guess it's about suffering, but you're like, and I just have to say this because I just have to get this off my chest. You have been pronouncing this wrong for 3 years. Now is your time to get it right during the Facebook Live.
Recent.
Get it right.
That was recent. We didn't do it. Oh gosh, that was just a couple of weeks ago.
I know. I know. We're not even in production.
Bottled up all
you.
this time.
Hey, Jeff, I love this. Jeff Rumplick is saying, hey, there's no voiceover from him, is there? Yeah, we have those copies. We should.
Yeah. Next time you're on, David, send me a copy of your voiceover.
That's a great idea.
And then actually maybe we can A-B it.
Well, A-B it. We'll say, did you prefer Samantha Brown's voiceover?
That's great.
Or David Dean's voice? And you all watching right now are going to love David Dean's voiceover.
Oh,
but this
no.
is but we've talked about this. I've talked about this to the people following along. I hate voiceover. I hate it. I'm not good at it. It's another animal altogether.
But I must say, background behind the scenes stuff. Sam nails her VOs. She really does. When she goes in the studios, it is very rare that we have more than 2 takes of anything. And
I just want to
if
get the
it
hell
is,
out of there.
and if it is, it's because of timing. If it is, it's because it's too short, it's too long. But as far as inflection, as far as the intention goes, I always have a lot to work with. And
I'm glad you're bringing this up, David, because for people who are watching right now, what happens is I'm in a room. We go to a really wonderful, it's called City Box in Manhattan. I've been going to them for 17 years. They were Full House before. Wonderful, wonderful studio, voiceover studio. Oh, Ken Burns does all of his voiceover there as well. And so I'll be sitting there and I'll hear Peter Coyote next door. And I'm like, what? That's incredible. And unfortunately, they also do the voiceover for Dora the Explorer, which is probably the most annoying. If you have kids. Oh, that's right. Liam Neeson was there. I mean, it's just,
I wasn't going to bring that up.
It's a little place.
Yeah.
It's just a little place. It's not pretentious at all. But here they come, and it's just like, oh my God. But so we do the voiceover, and then there is. So David has done what do you call it? The scratch track.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you have the scratch track. So we know what the timing is. That's what's really important about.
17 seconds. 17
seconds, right?
Right.
So I will do a take, and it's 16.6 seconds. And David will go, okay, just slow it down. Just slow it down a touch. Just slow it down a touch. Okay. So then I'll do it again, and it's 17.2 seconds. And David will say, you know what? If you could just speed it up, just speed it up, and like, it's like, oh my God, you're killing me. So and then
you won an Emmy Award, so shut up.
Wow, redial.
I will, David. For you, I'll always shut up.
So a few people have asked what we're drinking. This is a nice Pilsner from Peak Organic Brewing Company.
Where's that?
I think it's New England somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Vermont.
It's somewhere.
Nice.
It's
Lovely.
somewhere.
Yep, lovely.
Maine. Look at that.
Oh, nice. Nice.
And before we get to the episode, I'd like to play something because I really love this so much, and since it wasn't part of the show itself, we don't really see it that often, but it's something that I was really proud of when you put it together, and it meant a lot to me. It's just kind of, I think, part of what we believe our show is and what Samantha's voice is in the industry. So I'd like to play that for you now.
Yeah, me
So
too.
it starts out pretty much the same for all of us. We're like 5 or 6 years old, and we're on a beach, and we're digging a hole. And we're really proud of this hole because it's big and it's deep. And then maybe someone passing by or a favorite uncle will say, "What, are you digging a hole to China?" And we look up and we say, "What do you mean? What's China?" And that is when the seed gets planted. And then you'll have dumplings and noodles, and you'll find out that they are from China. And then you're in the 3rd grade and you're cutting snowflakes out of paper, and you find out that paper cutting is an art form born in China. That paper itself was invented thousands of years ago in China. And now you're older and you're in history class, and you learn about dynasties and forbidden palaces and terracotta warriors and a great wall, and all these things only exist in China. And then you learn that a long time ago, China became closed to us. We were cut off from it, but then it opened up again. And not only was this a country of ancient marvels, but modern ones too. And that's when you realize that ever since that day on the sand, you have never stopped digging. That with everything you've learned, you've kept digging, slowly digging a hole, a passageway that goes through the center of the earth that you will use one day to walk through and out into China. And it is the most marvelous feeling in the world. So for all you travelers out there, especially the young ones just getting your start, no matter where you go to in the world, North America, South America, Africa, Asia, Europe, travel is going to change your life. So never stop digging.
Nice.
I love that.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
gosh, it's just, I'm sorry. There's just something in my eye. It's I don't know what it is. That's
And if
beautiful.
anyone wants to see that
Gosh,
again, that video is on
I
our
love
Facebook
that.
videos section if you wanted to see that again. So.
Yeah. That was actually, I remember waking up one morning and realizing, because I actually had those thoughts for a long time, just like, wow, it's like when I first got to go to China, I'm like, I remember actually I asked the crew that I was working with, I'm like, hey, in China, does anyone ever say, hey, what are you digging a hole to North America? You know, if you're on a beach, and they're like, no. I'm like, really? Because every child in the United States, if you're digging a hole, and just kind of that was kind of a joke and fun, and then I realized, boy, when you finally get to go to China, it does feel like you have the effort that it took to get you there. You just feel like it has been this journey through the middle of the earth to go to a place that when you start out, you never think for a minute you're ever going to be able to go.
Yeah.
So it's just that feeling of travel in general. But it's not really in the end, it's not a commercial for China. It's just a really thought of travel in general. It's just all these places that we think about that are just these, images in our head, maybe as a little kid, and all of a sudden we're there. And man, does it hit you like a ton of bricks, and it becomes a really powerful, powerful moment. But Samantha, write this. Yeah. The writing of the show is brilliant. And especially, thank you very much.
That's from
Yes,
Colleen.
I do.
That's from
Colleen, thank you. I do write everything.
Yeah,
Unless you don't like it, then it's him.
All right, should we get to the episode, guys?
I think so, yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
Well, it's about damn time.
It's official.
It's time to
It's
go
Xi'an.
on an ancient adventure. A trip that takes us back to the beginning of everything in a city with a history written in stone. And yet your own journey through it is full of surprising unknowns. An ancient adventure with an extraordinary modern twist. This is Xi'an, China.
Love that shot.
I'm Samantha Brown, and I've traveled all over this world. And I'm always looking to find the destinations, the experiences, and most importantly, the people who make us feel like we're really a part of a place. That's why I have a love of travel, and why these are my places to love. Samantha Brown's Places to Love is made possible by
Europe
And
is
as
a
you know,
treasure
these
trove
are
of
the
fascinating
wonderful
history, rich culture,
funders
and
of our
renowned
show.
cities. Ama
These are their
Waterways
sort of,
River
what do you call
Cruises
that?
offers a way to
Sponsors,
see all of
underwriters.
this
Funders,
wonder in person.
underwriters, right.
You can
Ama
discover more
Waterways. I'm
at
set to do the Ama Waterways
amawaterways.com.
cruise in July.
Yep, to
So
Bordeaux.
excited to Bordeaux.
You can join us all.
Join us, yes.
Is the smell
We're gonna
of
have
fresh
fun,
pine.
fun. And then go RV. And
It's
of
a
course they
place where
celebrated
giants
a really
still
great
live.
summer. I think a lot of people got out there this summer, and hopefully that will continue.
Away is where the
because I
farther
believe
down
there
the
are
road
heating
you go,
systems in those RVs.
the closer you get to the ones you
And then
love.
just AAA Travel
Find
wasn't a
your
sponsor
way.
of this first season, but
Go
We are the ones.
your
RV.com.
podcast is being released every week now. I saw a thing that just got
Oh, nice.
yeah,
Oh,
that's
great.
well
Okay.
traveled.
Well traveled with AAA.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So I was in Xi'an exactly 10 years ago, and this city just astonished me with its history. And we're not talking history that's centuries old, we're talking millenniums of history to absorb and take in. And of course, a lot can change in 10 years, especially a city in China. So to get my ancient and modern bearings straight, I thought, why not head to the city wall? Wow, it is good to be back.
Look at these shots. He's traveling alongside her.
Yeah, I
And it's
forget
a
who
great
did that.
perspective, too.
I
12
forget how they
meters
did
or
that.
40 feet tall, the wall, as we enjoy it, was started in the 14th century during the Ming Dynasty and creates a complete rectangle around Old Xi'an. And walls have been a part of this city since 190 BC.
This is the most complete city wall of its kind to have survived in China. And when it was built, it was considered one of the most impressive military defense systems in the world. Now it's the perfect place for a bike ride and an ice cream.
It's hard to believe that a wall that was started in the 1300s is a relative newcomer compared to what was discovered in a field just an hour away from here, hidden from view and history for over 2 millennia. The Terracotta Warriors.
This is just an archaeological phenomenon. And what you're looking at is physical proof of a time that represents the birth of China, which was 200 years before Christ. And everyone here, they get up to 12,000 visitors a day, is here just trying to wrap your brain around that little nugget of information. And what your first reaction is, oh my goodness, the amount of effort that it took to create all these soldiers and horses and everything else they created back then. But then your second thought is all the effort that goes into bringing them back to life.
So a lot of people ask me what the difference between what I did before, like in my Travel Channel days, to now. Like, how is my travel show now different than the ones that you kind of saw me in for nearly a decade? And this is a great This is a great example. The scene you're about to see is a great example because we love to do monuments. I love to do history. But when we did this scene 10 years ago in Xi'an, we literally just focused on the historical importance of this, what it was, which we're about to find out. Well, just that it's, literally the birth of China and these warriors were found. But now with Places to Love, for me, it's always about what is the emotional value of being in a place like this. And so it goes beyond its historical importance. It's, well, who can we talk to who will make us understand what it means to the people of China now? And so this is sometimes difficult to get, especially from foreign countries, whether it's Europe or China. They don't understand that we don't want just this historical kind of statement of what it is. We want to meet somebody who represents the heart, who represents the emotion of being there. But they did amazingly. They found Dr. Ronbo. And I just want to say clearly, to go on camera and with just even a little bit of English, and he was so concerned about not sounding, speaking English poorly. And I just think he did such a phenomenal job, because even with his English as it is, you still understand right away what this means to him. And so again, this is really difficult. Imagine speaking in a different language to to an American and our camera crew, and that pressure. And yet he really, and it took a little while. Obviously it takes a little while to warm up, but just watch this show and just the next scene, and just see how we kind of approach it from a very different place than just what is the historical importance of the Xi'an. The terracotta
but also Sam, the power of you is making him comfortable enough to do that, to be to want to share the way he does, because you're clearly interested in what he has to say, and he responds to that, and I think that's a big thing about this scene and his interaction with you.
It's a two-way street, absolutely.
Yep.
在兵马俑博物馆工作21年，长期从事的是秦俑的保护和修复研究。
The archaeologists think there are 6,000 figures in here. How many have you restored and recovered so far?
1,300 fingers.
So you have a job for life.
Yeah. The whole life.
Your whole life you were going to be here, working in the pit.
Yes, working in the pit.
When this was discovered in 1974, there had been no record of this written anywhere.
Yeah.
No one knew that it was created, or if it was even buried, right? So there was no record of it coming into life, and there was no record of it disappearing. So you, as the part of the restoration, you're giving them back their lives.
Yes. For if you finish or you preserve one sculpture, you are so proud, because like a doctor, I make the life size sculpture alive.
So you've worked down in these pits?
Yes.
And you've uncovered these warriors yourself. What does it feel like when you see someone's face looking back at you?
When I work in the pits, I would like to talk with sculptors. I want to say hello to them, or some best wishes.
Best wishes.
I just want to say a story.
When you look out at them and their facial expressions and the intensity, and no two facial expressions are alike, they do look like at any moment they are going to come to life. That really speaks to the craftsmanship that was around many years ago, right? I mean, and
Yes.
you actually get to touch that craftsmanship.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect
So
transition.
I have never been this close to a terracotta warrior. There is energy coming off of him.
Yes.
And just looking at his detailing here, he even has nostrils. It's incredible. Even his shoes have
Yes.
little ties.
Yes.
He's tied his shoes for battle. He's ready.
Original, it's colorful, totally colorful. Some pieces, the color remains, but sometimes the color is peel off or down in the soil.
I'm looking at this now and I just see puzzle pieces. How many pieces do you think he is?
120 pieces.
He's 120
20 pieces.
How long would something like this have taken to put together again?
From excavation site
To when you're putting the
finish,
pieces, yeah. How long do you spend with your friend?
probably 8 months. 8 months for finish this, yes.
Just one soldier.
One soldiers, yes.
And so he right now, he's getting ready to travel.
Yeah, we'll go to American for exhibition.
I find it fascinating that these soldiers were created to protect the emperor in the afterlife, and now their role is more to be ambassadors, right? Going out into the world from China to connect people from around the world to this remarkable past that you're uncovering as we speak.
Yes.
You know, before we go off the scene, the little bit of behind the scenes, I was there with David Tong, who's our second camera, scouting everything about a month or 6 weeks before, and we had very limited time on that platform. You could see all those people around the pit, and I mean there were people watching us like, why are they there? What are they doing? And during the scout, David brought his camera, so we got a lot of extra footage during the scout that we used in the video because there wasn't a lot of time to do B-roll when you guys were filming there because you were chatting with him and getting those kind of shots. So it really worked out that we had that extra time there to get all those gorgeous shots because we got so many different angles and, you know, it really helped that scene.
Yeah.
And what I found kind of interesting, as I say, I went looking through the footage before we joined tonight. That sequence with the two of them behind the scenes was actually shot first. And then you went to the big room. Mm-hmm. So there was already a certain level of comfort between the two of you. And yet still it was able to tie together as if it was intended to follow the bigger thing. And also the footage that you shot in the exhibition center, the museum, it suddenly made so much sense with the last thing that he was saying about these figures being transported around the world, and suddenly all of this footage, which didn't really have a place, suddenly made sense to illustrate that point. So that was really exciting to watch that fall together.
It all come together. Yeah, no, I totally agree. It's a great scene, and we did not know we were going to be able to. It was interesting when we were shooting the scene. Dr. Ron Bow is the head of, I believe, weaponry. So he really is given the task of putting the soldiers are of course terracotta, but they were buried with real weapons. So all the arrows, everything is a real weapon, and so he puts those really back together. And so as we were kind of walking in this, very clinical space, we see one of the warriors, and we're like, can wait, because I've never been that close to a warrior, and oh my gosh, when we were granted access, what I said was true. Like, you could feel the power, and to know it was going to the United States, and just kind of going back to that keep digging. Like, I could just see like some little girl in like Virginia, whatever museum this was going to, because we've all seen them. They make the rounds. Is probably standing there at 8 years old, and she links to her mom. Is like, where is that from? And her mother says, China. And then she says, what's China? And then boom, and then that's where it starts again. Like, that little girl's gonna go, I want to go where this is from. And so for the people of China, the terracotta warriors, it is the birth of their nation, and they are so proud of it, and it just sparks this insatiable urge we have to know about each other's cultures. So it was a really powerful moment.
And nobody knew about it
as old as the terracotta warriors.
I know, until
Almost as
1974.
ancient and impressive is Chinese traditional medicine. It's the use of everything from herbs and roots to beetles and seahorses to help cure life's ailments. And though the prescription may not be familiar, how to get one is a visit to the doctor.
Okay, stop for just a second. I just want to give you some setup about this, because this was a challenge. As far as I know, as far as the shooting was, because we only had one camera on this one. Usually we have two.
Okay.
Yeah, we did. It was only one camera shooting this, and so the whole first part of it, the interview that they're about to have, was one camera, and then Brian is panning back and forth to you, and then. We were playing a lot with the awkwardness of the scene, and that there were some pauses, extended pauses in there, which make it really work. But there's an entire other scene later that we didn't do of you actually having a massage. You actually.
Oh yeah.
In the same thing, one shot, one take, like about 12 minutes or so, just doing this whole thing. And you left the table and you laid down on a bed, and the older man was just going, and the only English word apparently he knew was pain. And he said, yes, pain. And then you got back up and then went back to the table, and that's when the second half of the scene comes about. Here's what's wrong with you. Here's how we're going to medicate you. And so
how me being like slowly tortured on a massage table didn't make it, I'll have no idea.
none of it
good
did.
television.
None of it made it. None of it made it.
Almost
So,
as ancient and
yeah,
impressive
this is a
is
great thing. Go
Chinese
ahead.
traditional medicine. It's the use of everything from herbs and roots to beetles and seahorses to help cure life's ailments. And though the prescription may not be familiar, how to get one is. A visit to the doctor.
Okay. So long flight from New York City. Sat in one place for 15 hours.
就是15个小时，只在飞了15个小时。
I just feel achy.
就是他想快速的解决这个问题。
Very low chi.
You want to become normal.
I'd like to become normal, yes.
看一下脉象，
The pulse.
Pulse.
我再看看舌头，
Have your tongue.
给竖突，
开始白的。
白盘，
Your tongue looks white. Too white.
Too white. Okay.
What's the
多少年龄？
age?
My age is 47.
47。
Is your excrement normal?
Yes.
Yes.
有了解。
Look like a banana.
Yes, it looks like a banana.
今年龄多少？
Your pee.
My pee. Oh. Everything's coming out.
一切都很正
I'm
常。
sorry. There are still times when I am very aware I am on camera.
The doctor is prescribed a medicine to you.
So that prescription will cure my jet lag.
This is a prescription.
Okay. And it'll make me feel.
Just to say, we are having some technical. So the internet or Facebook is having issues. So I know it's going in and out, but we'll just hope we can power through it.
I think Facebook has a problem with me saying poop. So if you missed it, they asked me if what my excrement was like and if it's shaped like a banana.
I think you catched it somehow.
Oh, did it?
Oh, wait.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll stop. But everyone was, and then let me tell you, the questions got even more personal, and I just wasn't expecting it. And at one point, the man who's the interpreter to the doctor looks at me very seriously, and he's like, "He is a doctor. He needs to know these questions. Like, stop laughing." And I can't. And I'm so sorry. I don't mean to show disrespect, but like, I'm on camera. And of course the guy's like, well, you brought the camera, so he's not getting it. Like, why I would be mortified. It's like, what did you think this was, young lady? And he's right. It's like, if I go to my doctor, he asks me, and she asks me really personal questions. And I was like, oh, I just thought I was going to be talking about my chi here. So... yes, my poop is shaped like a banana, and I'm proud of that.
Everything's coming out. Everything's coming out.
Everything's coming out.
Everything's
coming out. Yeah.
But again, this is kind of important because this is what happened. I mean, this really.
And anyone can do this.
Nothing's faked here.
You should, Yeah, you should take an interpreter because. But yeah,
Not so tired.
Small problem.
But these
It's sort of
visuals are
mystifying
amazing.
to know that my
Like
prescription,
scorpions
which starts
and-
like this, is going to be
Yeah,
all
bugs
boiled
and
down and
fruits
then
and
delivered
just-
to me in an individual wax egg
Look at that.
you break open to reveal a little herb-packed gelatin nugget.
That's my medicine?
You can eat. You can eat it.
Like right now?
Yes. It's not bitter.
See
It's
the beetles
sweet.
in the background
All
there?
right. I'm going to take a bite.
Take it.
It's very bitter.
It's very bitter.
Holy mackerel. I feel better already.
So what's funny is you don't know this, Kevin and David, or maybe you saw it, but I didn't want to eat it just in case. Like, I've got a job to do.
Why
if I
would
have
you?
adverse
Yeah.
effects, like I don't know
Yeah.
what's in there, and and so I was like, I probably shouldn't. I'll say, hey, I'm going to save it for later. And Brian Miller, our DP, said Andrew Zimmern would eat it. And I was like, oh, are you challenging me? He goes, I'm just saying, Andrew Zimmern would eat it. And he wasn't backing down. I'm like, challenge accepted. And it was fine.
But it wasn't sweet.
If you happen to be in Xi'an between April and October, you can travel from the 21st century to the 2nd century BC, to the 9th century AD, and then back to the 21st century within 6 miles of each other.
Xi'an is a city of immense historical significance. It's got a wall and a pagoda and a great mosque to prove it. So you would just assume that the city is a very serious city, really heavy in its historical importance. But at night, it totally transforms. It becomes this huge spectacle. It's like bright lights, ancient city. There is no doubt Xi'an knows how to put on a show.
Can I mention something?
Yeah. Go ahead.
I just want to mention something about it. Can you pause it because it's an audio thing?
Oh, yep.
This was a wonderful sequence. We got footage that we shot, and we got footage from the actual show that did this. This is an absolutely unbelievable theatrical experience.
And I was surprised when they gave me this, when it was like, oh, we're going to do this. I'm like, this could be so cheesy. And it knocked our socks off. It was phenomenal. Yeah. It was like, oh,
we only have just a little bit to show you about little individual scenes, but it's about a half an hour. It's a whole story. It's incredible visually. Yeah. But here's the thing. Before the show, see, this is something that maybe another editor wouldn't do. We shot a lot backstage before the show started. The actors getting dressed, putting their makeup on, putting their clothes on. A lot of footage there, and it looked great. But when the time came to actually cut it together, we needed to go right to the show. You know, we had Sam stand up, and we went right to the show. There was really no place to put all that great footage. And then I had the idea that in the midst of this, the production, we cut to backstage with them putting on their makeup, putting on their clothes, and muffled the audio as if it was happening simultaneously, as if they were getting ready for their next cue. And that way we could get some of this great footage into the show, into the way it was. And that's kind of what my job is on a lot of this, is to solve things. You know, and we shoot so much great stuff, and I want to use it. And here's a perfect example of that. You'll hear it. You'll hear the audio. The music will continue, but it's like it's backstage. But it's like it's far away. So yeah, enjoy that. There you go.
It tells the story of a noble emperor who falls deeply in love with a beautiful concubine, and a military coup that threatens to shatter the empire. It features a huge cast of actors and dancers, magnificent costumes, lasers, fountains, projections, and they do this twice a night. The amphitheater is at the foot of the actual mountain where the story took place. But the light show continues all over the city of Xi'an, where all of the city's greatest ancient monuments get a nighttime treatment and then some. I mentioned earlier that Xi'an has a great mosque, and that's actually its name. The Great Mosque is located in what's called the Muslim Quarter. It's one of the most popular neighborhoods in the city for both tourists and locals, and it's just steps away from the beauty and tranquility of the Great Mosque and its gardens.
It becomes another world in here, doesn't it?
It is.
Oh, so peaceful.
So quiet. I'm Peter Cao, history major from Northwest University, Xi'an. I love to show the people from all over the world Xi'an, because Xi'an's hometown of Chinese history.
When did the Muslims first come here?
First, the Muslim people came to China along the Silk Road from the 1st century. The largest immigration happened in 14th century.
14th century. And where were they coming from? What were some of the
From
countries?
Pakistan, they cook from the Afghanistan, from Turkey, from Iran, from Syria, from whole Middle East. And today, in the whole city, we have more than 50,000 Muslim people are living in those 2 blocks, just right around this corner.
It's interesting to me that even though this is a mosque, and the people who built this mosque were directly from the Middle East and Muslim countries, they still use Chinese architecture.
Correct. When Muslim people come to China, they are minority. Chinese emperor are not allowed to build the traditional dome in China. So they can build a mosque in Chinese style, not in their own building.
And whatever the emperor wants,
Exactly.
the emperor gets.
Just outside the mosque is the quarter's famous Muslim street, and it feels like we've traveled 600 years in the future in the span of 200 feet.
This is something that everyone who comes to Xi'an wants to do. They want to come to the Muslim quarter. And
100%.
100% of the visitors to Xi'an come here.
Come to
So
the
you know
Muslim
it's gonna be
streets.
busy.
Yeah, it's a food streets. Hundreds restaurant, food store, vendors, they sell the food, the local flavor every night. Especially if you want to try the Muslim cooking, this is the only opportunity, only place you can try.
So what are some of the local delicacies here that I can only get in Xi'an?
Burger?
A burger?
So this is one of the most famous burger store in Xi'an.
Should we get in line?
Okay.
And I know from traveling all around the world that you always go to the places with the longest line.
Sure.
Is this the end of the line? All right.
You know, Muslim people, they don't eat pork. They only eat the lamb and the beef.
And it comes in like a little bun.
Yeah, exactly. They're all Chinese tourists.
So these are all, right.
Chinese from all over the China.
So there are no locals here on this street?
Very few.
Okay. Thank you. Nice. All right.
So just to jump in a bit, that burger, which is amazing, it's kind of like a sloppy Joe, super spiced, and it's nothing like you'd expect Chinese food to be. We were doing, we knew that we were going to be gathering extra scenes to do a food episode, and we had at the time we were really thinking that we'd be more like dump and stir type food, where we would learn how to make something, and I spent probably 4 hours going around Xi'an trying to find a chef that would show us how to make that burger. And every one, we would spend all this time, it'd be great. And then in the end, they'd be like, wait, you want us to give the recipe of it? Like, yeah, we're not going to do that. And so the whole thing was just a huge waste of time for that. So we ended up filming just this scene, but not like you in the kitchen learning how to make it with spices and stuff. But I totally respect their wanting to keep it, their secret recipe stuff. But, no one wanted to tell me that, so I had to kind of spend a lot of time for them to tell me that.
This is my first Chinese burger.
I think we were also
What are the
we're
spices?
very lucky to have Peter. Where Peter, he's going to take the lead in the next sequence as well. Again, I was just looking at the footage today. You shot like 5.5 hours in the next sequence in one location after another, and it's the efficiency of doing all that. And I give credit to Michael Lindijian and Sylvia Kaminer, who kept it moving, so that you did so many different things in the next sequence, and Peter just led you right through it, and all of these conversations are completely spontaneous. No rehearsals here. When he says we're going to have a burger, your reaction, of course, is a burger. And that's what's so cool about all of these upcoming sequences here, that it's what you see. It really is. It isn't faked. None of it is. So enjoy.
Yeah, Peter and I became friends. It's good. I remember how it is.
Oh, that's nice.
It's very nice.
Oh, it's wonderful.
It's so delicious.
So is this Xi'an Chinese or is this Xi'an Muslim Chinese?
It's a Xi'an Chinese Muslim.
The next day, Peter wants me to see a more personal side to the people of Xi'an, and so we leave it and travel about an hour and a half outside of the city to Yuanjia, an old farm village turned retreat for weary urbanites.
Yuanjia?
Yeah, Yuan is Y-U-A-N is one Chinese family name.
Okay.
Jia means family. So that means the people from this village, they are relatives from same family.
Is that still happens today, or is this just in the past? They were all relative. They were all okay.
People are here to eat home-cooked food, stock up on the local hot peppers, and fresh ground spices.
Ginger is a healthy cooking materials.
Woo! That's strong.
We only
That's
we only eat ginger in the morning. Morning ginger is in the same value as a ginseng. You know ginseng?
It wakes you up.
Exactly.
It gets you going. You don't want to have
has
this at
more
night.
energy, right?
Ah.
After sunset, temperature is cutting down, your body getting cooler. At this moment, don't touch ginger.
Don't touch ginger.
Yeah, at night.
I listen to him now. Still to this day. I never knew that.
Oh, yeah.
People also come here to be entertained.
So when we scouted this, this place came across really touristy at first because it is a tourist destination, and I was skeptical because it's, we try to avoid those kind of places for what we do, but what kind of set it in stone for me that when I came back recommending for us to go there, one was the tea puller guy. What do they call it? Tea
puller.
Tea cooker. Tea cooker.
Tea cooker, yeah.
Just the spectacle of that alone was worth everything, because it was about an hour and a half away, I think, hour and away. Was this the idea that it might be a tourist place, but American tourists don't really go there. So even though it might be full of tourists, they're from China or maybe other parts of Asia, and would still be quite a foreign thing for American tourists to go to. So I felt a lot better about that once we kind of figured that, thought about that. But yeah, this scene gets a little crazy.
我姓邓，邓小平，一姓的邓吧。我在这里说是，只要是中国古代这些英雄豪杰，能使国家富强统一的这些中华民族的精英。
They're about to do something.
They're doing the show. It's a showtime, I think.
The two men who are flanking the storyteller. Who are they? What are they doing?
They are the tea cooker.
They're the tea cookers?
Yeah, they are cooking the tea.
What do you mean they're cooking the tea?
The tea. We have two different tea you can cook in China. One is a green tea. Green tea, you don't need to cook. Just put the tea leaf in the water.
Boil,
that's fine.
steep, and that's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But also this tea, black tea, will be cooked in the hot water again, and again for a couple hours until the tea taste totally go into the water. That's why every half an hour they're going back to push to burn the coal in the stove.
Okay.
To burn the tea water, boil again, and again.
Okay, so and that's why they're the tea cookers.
Exactly.
Got it. Okay. I've never seen anything like this before.
Really?
And this question's gonna come out wrong, but what is that man smoking? So I know why I'm here, because I'm from somewhere very, very different. So places like this is just absorbing as much a different cultural life as I possibly can, a day in the life. But why is everyone else here? Is there just an idea that you want to be a part of a life that is harder and harder to find in China? Is that why everyone's enjoying it?
And also, most of the tourists today we can see around here, they're all people from Xi'an, from the city.
These are all people from Xi'an, just kind of leaving the city. How we always
Just leaving the city.
We just all need to leave the city.
Exactly. Our Chinese family, every family is big. More generations live together. So this is why you can see the family people, family by family, all come here to enjoy the holiday vacation together just right here.
So being here in this village is about being together with your family and just enjoying a more relaxed time.
Relaxed time, right.
I like it.
And what's more relaxing than getting a massage and your ears cleaned.
It's, it's just, it's a little ticklish. Mr. Ho is very delicate, I must say. And, and now he's kind of digging out some stuff. When I first saw this, I was really fascinated.
I love his face.
Something that, to me, is
While
done
he's
in,
getting massage.
your own, bathroom, in the privacy of your own home. Sure. And yet, you dig it out in the open. So this is not just like cleaning your ears. This is a part.
All of his kites are not for sale. He said it's his piece of memory. He'd rather share his work, his art with the other kite lovers
I'm gonna back
instead
it
of
up.
selling it.
We skipped the whole part.
Oh my god.
Idea of making trees from a shape or
It's
pattern
been
of a
playing
dragon.
fine for me.
Oh, the train cars.
Right.
Well, now I understand what he said when he said this
That's
is
the
a
thing. I
team
think it
sport.
might be a Facebook problem
This is a
because
team effort.
Really?
we're not losing David at all.
How long do you think this kite is?
31
Don't
meters
lose me.
exactly.
Wow.
That's 3 times
Wow.
over 100 feet.
That's me? Okay, sure.
Hold it tight.
Hold it tight.
Just magic here, folks.
Go, let's go. Let's
All right.
We're going back.
Okay.
Because this is a really great scene, and we think this is what gave us the Emmy.
Yep. God, I love these shots. Gosh, I love these shots. And the music couldn't be better here in the scene. Tiny little kites.
This seems like a group of kite flyers to me.
Yes, they are. Yeah. They all have the same hobby, so they gather around designated spot every week to share their experience making kites and flying kites. It's more like a fun game.
Some of the members of the Dalmingon Kite Organization design kites, others build them, but they all get together to fly them.
I didn't know kite flying was a team sport. This is all new to me. And this is a perfect spot to fly a kite. Big open space like this, right?
Absolutely. In a big space in a city like this is very rare. It's rare. Like a pearl hiding in the middle of the city.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Oh my goodness, that's a kite?
It is a kite.
Does he make these kites?
这也是您做的吗？
是，这是我做的，这个是去年做的。
It's a newer one. He made it last year,
这全
actually.
是
It's a
可以
very
插节的，
Beautiful.
全插我也携带方便，看头
wow.
都可以拿掉的啊，这可以插。我叫李小虎，我做风筝已经有50多年了。
Let's pick it up. Right. Look at this.
So that's
This
a
is such
kite?
gorgeous.
You made that?
对，这是火车车头，这枫叶很小，这个枫叶就有13公分，13公分长。
Oh, this is incredible. Look, what the secret is in the back. When wind goes in here, it's
Look at that.
look at that.
Oh my gosh.
Look here in the middle.
Yeah.
He even built up an oven.
Yes.
Where the
It's
coal
shoveled
was,
into,
was
right?
shoveled into.
炉门打开时候，
and it
他要把
opens
煤送进去。
Oh my goodness. This is a work of art. Does he sell his kites?
不卖，
Nope.
因为
I
做
don't
一样
sell
很不容易，我自己就是拿着就是玩。
All of his kites are not for sale. He said it's his piece of memory. He'd rather share his work, his art with the other kite lovers instead of selling it.
要往后弹，弹到后头。
Oh my gosh.
Idea of making trains from a shape or a pattern of a dragon.
All the train cars.
Right.
Well, now I understand what he said when he said this is a team sport. This is a team effort.
Really.
Holy mackerel. How long do you think this kite is?
31 meters exactly.
Wow.
That's 3 times
Wow.
over 100 feet.
That's me? Okay, sure.
Hold it tight.
Hold it tight.
I did not know he was going to give it to me.
Go, let's go.
And the music is just perfect here.
Oh my gosh! Wow!
Higher and higher.
我从小在西安长大， 这个城市啊有很深厚的文化底蕴，然后所以也吸引了不少的外国人和中外游客哈，都来西安，也是取材于西安这些，或者是我们中国古时候那些文化题材。
对促进文物保护和文化遗产的一个传播也很有意义，所以从事这个工作也很自豪。
You don't understand China unless you have been to Xi'an.
When a destination leads us on an ancient adventure, when we come face to face with storytellers who are real and carved in stone, when we can stand in awe of the past and then be invited in to enjoy the everyday.
Mr. Lee, 谢谢.
That is when we share a love of travel, and that's why Xi'an, China is a place to love.
Great.
For more information about
when I found that last
episodes,
shot,
extra
when I
scenes,
found that
or
last
links
shot,
to follow me on
you know,
social
with
media,
the kite, and
log
oh God, that just sealed
That's such
the
a
deal.
great question. When you're putting this together, are you anticipating the shot that will end the scene? And when you don't find it, it's like, and then when you do, it's just like, that's what I needed. Give me what I need. Give me what I want.
In that case, in that particular case, sure, it would have been just fine to just have, you know, one of the night shots, something like that. And so I was just scanning through all of the B-roll of scenics that could be a good last shot, and then I saw that one which would have been a perfect shot without the kite, and that just tied everything together. And
it's an amazing shot.
Boy,
Give people watching right now an idea of how many hours of footage you have to scan through. And just the B-roll, guys.
Yeah.
It's just footage I'm not in. It's kind of just, you know, atmospherics, great close-up shots. I'm A-roll, and then everything else is B-roll. So how many hours?
Well, I can tell you that in that one scene in the village with Peter, I was actually looking at this today. There was 5 hours of footage entirely there. And that was not only, that was the ear cleaning, that was the tea cookers, that was all the massage footage. And then there were 2 scenes that didn't make it in the show. One with Peter. You went to a tea shop and were shown how loose tea is put together in a compressed block.
Oh yeah.
And you spent 30 minutes in that one. Yeah. And then you did another scene in that village, like a 2-hour shoot of showing how in a tea house. And Peter wasn't involved in that, and it was, I guess, a father and a son, I guess, who was his interpreter. And here's how it's brewed properly, and here's how it's served properly. And it just did not make the show. But that was all 5 hours in one location. You spent an entire afternoon there. And just move from point to point to point to point, and I'm really impressed with that level of organization. You know, that you do that you move there, and I don't really know how many hours of footage there is. I can tell you that it's about 5 terabytes of data. You know, so that's a lot of footage. But we have to get it all down to 23.5 minutes. And that's what
I would say I remember so Dave and I work together with the show. He gives me a rough cut, and David's rough cuts aren't that rough. I've been spoiled definitely with his rough cuts, because it's basically a show that's pretty close to being done, where there are rough cuts where there are times where you just don't even know if you have a show. Like, oh my God. And then you work through it, and there it is. And so, but David gives me amazing rough cuts. But it's interesting. These are scenes that I totally forgot, never made it. And I don't even question it. You probably didn't even put it in that first rough cut. And then I've always trusted you. It's just like, yep, if it's not there, doesn't need to be there. And very rarely do we need to go back and kind of pull from something that was
Right.
just totally cut to kind of find something else. So that's how much
Yeah.
trust there is between you and I.
That's true. And then it goes into a food show.
I froze this scene here because this scene was this particular moment was so powerful.
Oh, look,
the only
it's
time
Brian.
we've ever allowed a shot of Brian in the shot.
There's Brian.
Oh my God, that's the first time.
You don't
I've
know
never
it.
seen
I
that.
didn't even know that.
Wow, because you're so I've never noticed that. That's so funny.
That's our cameraman Brian.
That's our cameraman Brian. I see the boom of chow.
Yeah.
That's funny.
That's not when you're focused. You need to be
Yeah.
focused on
Yeah.
on the head of the kite, and no one has ever noticed that before. Until
I've never
Kevin
noticed that. Yeah. Nice.
Wow.
But no,
Boy.
that's a great. Yeah, it's a great episode, and I know we've got a lot of great comments about David.
Yeah,
and
lots of comments. David, you need to move to New York and be with us every week, I think.
I know exactly.
I left New York. I left New York a long time ago to come
I
to
think
work
David
for
should
you,
have his own
Samantha.
show. Well, I'll put you to work.
No, I lived in New York for about 30 years as an editor, and it was Pine Ridge Film and Television. Jerry Smith and Joan McCord. Jerry discovered Samantha two shows before, and brought me down to their production company in Jacksonville. I started in the middle of the second season of Great Hotels. For about a 6-month gig, and they didn't want to let me go, and there was nothing in New York for me to cut anymore. So I uprooted the family and came down to Jacksonville, and that's where I've been ever since. And my
Bonnie
life was
Fogel
changed.
says that she thinks David should have his own show. And
I
say
know,
that
Bonnie.
David does have his own show. It's called Places to Love.
That's
Who would
right.
edit it?
Because this show is almost as much as David's as it is Samantha's.
No, I modestly say, my fingerprints are all over this show, and I love the fact that you let me put my fingerprints all over this show.
And I would say I write most of the show, but someone asked does David write the show? Absolutely, David writes quite a bit of the voiceover. If things needed to, if he sees, because what's amazing about David is we have a show that we shoot when we're there. And then with fresh eyes, David sees the footage and brings it to the next level. That is the role of the editor, to see what we didn't see. And to kind of put it all together in a way that we hadn't really thought of, because sometimes you just get too close to a project and you need someone who has outside vision to give us that. To give us that show. But
and
so David
sometimes
will
I do
definitely
come
write.
up with connective tissue. Sometimes I do come up with connective tissue between sequences. Yeah.
How do you feel about reusing shots from earlier in the episode, atmospheric shots, sunset shots, etc.? So we'll use a shot, if a shot is really good, we'll use it in the open, say, or maybe the close, and then kind of right where it needed to be. But we'll never use a shot, like if it's a really great shot, it might be in the open because it's a tease, and then you'll see it again. But we try to only use the shot once. I mean, wouldn't you say so?
That's true. Yes, I'd agree with that.
And all those shots, those atmospheric shots, are shot with that in purpose. So we'll get time lapses of sunsets, of sunrises, of traffic, and it's just these are great shots just to lay in, to be segues, to be endings, just in case. They're always important. Really important.
I think it's more likely that we'll duplicate a shot in the open, in the teaser of the open of the show, and play it later. But I don't think we further duplicate it for the ending. I think we try to avoid.
Yep. We'll try to avoid
that. Yeah.
Abigail Curry has a question for you about music and how you select it and how you edit it in perfectly into the scenes.
Oh, I mean, David
Thank
Dean
you for
is
that.
a master, because we have a music library that we have to pay a subscription to. We can't just take anything. We have, some of it is just god awful. And the music library, just the music sounds like it's from the 90s, and it just drives me nuts. And if we had a better budget, we'd get a better music library. But David
Yeah.
can always find the music that is more natural. And I mean, just really great.
I think we really lucked out with this particular show. They do have some Asian composers in this library. There is some authentic Asian Chinese music in this show in the Shanghai episode as well. It gets tougher in domestic Middle America sort of thing where it just becomes it sounds like stock music,
Yeah, it sounds like 1990s travel video music, and you're like, oh god. And so a lot of times we don't even use music because it's just we'd rather not.
Well, I can tell you that our second editor on the seasons 2 and 3, a wonderful guy named Steve Shearsby, we work differently with music. He'll find music first and then cut something to it. I will wait until the sequence is cut and then try to find something that fits it.
Nice.
And it's a challenge sometimes, but I think in this particular show, I think, especially in the kite sequence, there are 3 different pieces of music there. There's the first part when we're just interviewing the kite maker. Then there's some little dun, 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 some anticipatory music while we're getting ready to launch the train, and then that miraculous cut, that miraculous track of it rising up. And I don't even think that was considered to be an Asian track. When I was looking
Irish with the pin.
There's something to it, but yeah. But it doesn't matter. It works, and I love it when that comes together.
Yeah,
so thank you for the perfectly. Yeah.
Jeff Rumplick asked a question about, he was surprised that it's 23 and a half minutes with no commercial breaks. And I mean, that's the beauty of PBS. There's our sponsors ads kind of run before and after the show itself. Their kind of sponsorship spots. But from that point on, there's no breaks. It's in the old days on Travel Channel and all the other networks out there, you have commercials, and then there's, to keep people from leaving the show during the commercial, there's all this teasers. Crazy, see what crazy thing I get up to next when my Xi'an China adventure happens. This just allows us to tell a really nice story all the way through.
So true. This show would be very different if it had commercial breaks. Very different. Yeah.
We don't
because of our sponsors that allow us to do that, and that's why we love them so much.
When I say 23 and a half minutes, I don't count the opening. It's just from the point where the after the first commercial break up until the end when it fades out. That's 23 and a half minutes. The show itself, if you were to time the whole thing from beginning to end, it's 23 minutes and 46 seconds to the frame. But the bulk of the show is about 23 and a half minutes.
Here's a great question for David from our friend Daniel. Daniel, well, you're on every week. He works for NET in New York City, the PBS station.
Hi, Daniel.
What was the most difficult episode to edit?
Oh, of all of them? Oh, boy.
I think which ones we've had
Gosh.
challenges with.
That's tough.
Yeah.
They all have their challenges.
There's so many.
The most difficult to cut?
Yeah.
I think it's always more difficult when you've got a lot of great stuff in it. And your first rough cut is like 35 minutes or something like that. And it's all great. And you don't want to lose anything. And you wish you had a 45-minute show.
And David is really amazing in that respect as well, Daniel. He doesn't want to cut because we never, first of all, people have given us their time. And so we want to make sure they're represented in the show. And we know by cutting people just left and right, that's not what we want to do. And so David is not only concerned about, of course, you have to get to time, but also preserving the show as well as the people who showed their effort and giving them a fullness and not just snipping here and there. And if you've noticed that, you might notice other travel shows that just cut, 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 cut. There's no story, there's no development. David has a tremendous amount of care of how the people come across, how they're represented on camera, and to preserve that. I mean, you really see that, I feel like. You're a protector of that.
Well, I think, that is something that has been in my ethos from the very beginning of my career, in that my first reaction is what do I want to see as the audience? I think, I will look at a sequence and say, well, what do I want to see right now? And I want to see more of this person. And I want to tell their story. And if I'm just watching this at home for the first and probably only time, what's important to me? And you're right. I think I do pay attention to that as to. I don't know, Daniel. That's tough. The most difficult episode. I'm going to have to think about that.
Yeah, I'd say we don't typically have a problem of things being too short, do we?
Oh, we did have a couple of too short episodes, if I recall. I think things. It's not appearing to me at the moment, but I think we did have to add stuff to something, if I'm not mistaken. But I can't remember what it was. So.
Did you see his son?
What?
I think your son is on, David. Or someone
Joshua's on?
named Dean, yeah.
He said he was going to. Yeah.
Oh, here's a fun
he's in
one.
the other room.
Oh, is he?
What was your favorite meal in Xi'an?
Oh, I would say. Oh, I mean, I think Xi'an is famous for dumplings, and they do all the cute shapes as well, and they're good. It's not just shapes for shape's sake, and they'll do little turtles and little chicks. So it's just delightful. It's something you've never seen before. The artistry around it. We didn't show that. I did that 10 years ago. That was one of my favorite meals, but it's just I think Xi'an is known for dumplings.
Yeah, there's a couple dumpling restaurants where all they have are dumplings.
Yeah.
And I think they're not the same kind of dumplings you get out everywhere else in China. They are very unique with the kind of flavor profiles from the Middle East, the spice road, the Silk Road that brought all these different spices to China that they use there. So I mean, it's not the normal kind of dumplings you get elsewhere in China. There, yeah, that burger's good.
Burger's great. I'm trying to think what else we ate there. My gosh, it's been. I love all the food. I mean, because it's just. How is Xi'an?
It's amazing.
The first one.
We didn't do a lot of food. We didn't do a lot of food in this episode. That's right.
No, we didn't. Yeah. So it's Jeff. It's Xi'an.
Yeah.
And when you say thank you say shay shay. That's what the next two.
I think Kevin Haney asked a question about David Edison. I think Joshua might answer this question on your behalf, David.
No, I use Premiere Pro. I use Premiere Pro, and my guts.
I stump you. Oh, can I get it? That's funny.
Stump is never a good thing.
Someone who watched Facebook asked about the paella. The only reason I brought it up is it's our special thing we do at our house upstate, and Samantha posted something on Facebook and Instagram about it, and I think it might be the most liked thing we've ever done.
The paella?
The 10,000 people liked it. It's crazy.
Wow.
It's a wonderful photograph. I mean, it really was. I mean, honestly, there was such joy there.
There was a million people asked questions on the recipe. I think I'll get around to writing it at some point, but it's fun. It's a fun thing to do. It's a lot of risk, but it's fun.
It is. It was awesome. I know on Instagram I kind of teased that in this Facebook I'd be talking about when I had to talk about my poop as well as when I was in Xi'an. There are a lot of behind the scenes great stories in Xi'an. I made my most inappropriate language blunder ever. And this was totally off camera. My stylist, Christina Burns, and I decided we were going to go for massages. Because whenever you're in China, you got to go to a massage because it's like for $25, you get a 2-hour massage. And so we got literally a 2-hour massage. And it was phenomenal. And we were right next to each other getting our foot massages. And then we get the back massage. And my masseuse was so phenomenal that I wanted to say, "This is you were phenomenal," because it was just like, was everything okay? They didn't speak any English, and we didn't speak any Chinese, and so I Google translated. I wrote, "You are awesome," or maybe it was like, "This was phenomenal," or something like this, and I showed it to him on my screen, and he just went like this. He went. Like it was this like a physical, like recalcitrant, kind of action, and my Christina was like, "Oh, you did not say that was phenomenal," and I'm like, "Oh," and we just kind of left, and so we get back to we were having dinner with everyone, and we have a translator, our fixer's there, and I'm like, "So I showed this to the man to say this was phenomenal or this was excellent." And I said, but he reacted, and she's like, let me see what you said. And she went, when she read the words, I was like, what did I say? What did I say? And she said, you said, oh my gosh, no, I just forgot what I said. She said, oh my gosh, no. Oh no, I just lost it.
Christina, back her up.
Wait. That was excellent. Oh my gosh, I totally forget now.
It was sexual though, right?
Oh my god! It was something like
It was raunchy.
It was raunchy. It was like you are I said, you excite me. That's what I said. I said, you excite me. And so somewhere in Xi'an, China, there is a man who could say that I was inappropriate with him, and he would not be incorrect.
Well, I love that his reaction wasn't.
Well,
Yeah.
it was.
I still got it. It was.
He was. He would have none of it. No, I was not. I was. It was. Oh my God, you excite me. So Google Translate completely failed me.
Speaking of exciting you, Jeff Rumplick asked the question.
I am eating my dark chocolate Oreo thins. Thank you very much. These are upstairs. The kids don't even know they're here.
Yeah.
Aren't these amazing? There are new things. Dark chocolate Oreo thins. I'm not sponsored. But I could be if you want. But I thought I could only find one. I would have bought 10 boxes, but that would be Hoarding.
Nice.
Hoarding.
Wow.
Hoarding. Hoarding.
Oreo.
You excite me.
Oreo.
Hoarding. Anyway. So, good stuff. Good. But again, Xi'an has just been a really special place, and love the Terracotta Warriors. I know a lot of people have seen the Terracotta Warriors. I know a lot of times they've actually come to the United States, whether it's Washington, D.C. I think we were in Seattle, Washington, and they were there making a visit. So they're just something that just remind us how phenomenal human beings have been for thousands and thousands of years. I mean, really, I don't know if you know much about the Terracotta Warriors. Every single one of them is different. And the one we were in front of in the show, Dr. Ron Bo pointed out to me, but then David cut it. I'm kidding.
Since we have David here.
Since we have David here, I'm just going to blame him. That his tummy was full. He said, see how his stomach is bulging? He's had a meal because he's about to go into battle. So he's been well fed. And I mean, just like that kind of detail, and just really, really lovely.
I mean, the fact that you have thousands and thousands and thousands of faces, and they're all
different. Yeah, there's not one alike. There were no moles. Yeah. Love your show and love your behind-the-scenes stories. What would you say is the biggest difference between Xi'an and other cities you visited in that country? I love Xi'an. I think it's my favorite city in China. We had gone to Beijing, Chengdu. I've been to Shanghai as well. What I love about it is its ancientness, its historical importance. Of course, the Terracotta Warriors are on par with the pyramids in terms of archaeological discovery. Mm-hmm. But also I love the fact that it's really walkable, and I would say that most Chinese cities are not, just because they're massive. They go on forever, and then you just don't know where you are. You're looking at a map, you still don't know where you are. And yet, because of that wall, rectangle wall, you can you have a little playpen of ancient fun. So it's just a really agreeable city to be in.
And I think Xi'an's way bigger than New York City. It's a huge city.
Still 10 million people.
It's just that center part is quite contained.
Yeah.
It goes way past that. It's just, if you're in that center part, it's still a nice walking.
But if you have a chance, Caitlin, to go to China, go to Xi'an. Absolutely. I mean, Beijing is really important too. Absolutely. You got to see the Forbidden Palace and the Summer Palace and of course the Wall. But I think Xi'an should be your next. And I believe it's really easy to take a train. I think that's how we got there our first time.
That's right.
I shot there. Yeah, we took a train from Beijing. It's an overnight train, and it's pretty cool. It's a wonderful experience. Really, just really, really great. Dark chocolate Oreos are the best. I know. They are the best.
I think we're gonna wind it up. If anyone has any last questions, we're happy to answer. David, it was great having you on with us.
I know.
You watch the show more than anyone, man.
Honestly, this is the most I have seen the two of you in 3 years.
Oh,
just
you
these
hear
weekly
from us a lot.
we live 1,500 miles apart, and I never get to see you guys. And I am so honored to be part of this team. I love this show. I love my job. I love the trust you have put in me. And let's keep shooting. Let's keep making new ones. My gosh.
No worries there, David Dean. We will be back very soon.
We are working on that.
Yep. Presently, season 4.
Mm-hmm. It's not been easy, but we're getting there.
No, exactly. But geez, we're going to do it because we love what we do. And again, what we do is so about not just exploring cultures and just what makes us different and why we should connect to those differences, but also, the people who create these experiences that we as travelers just get to show up and have. And when you understand the work behind it and the people, you just want to keep traveling. There's a whole other reason to travel other than just, hey, we need a break and an escape. It really is about tuning in, connecting with one another, and just celebrating what it's like to be human beings on this earth. And so we miss that dearly. And we're going to try to get back out there within the end of this year.
You know what I did for the first time in 6 months? I bought a flight today. And I buy a lot of flights for not only me, but the whole crew. I do a lot of that kind of stuff. It was really weird. My computer had lost my password to United's website. United made me verify who I was because they didn't recognize the browser. And again, I was on there every day for 3 years.
Yeah.
And it felt good.
Good. I know. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting.
My kind of thing about China, just to kind of echo what you're saying, is there's something that my son said to me, and he's 7. He said to me a week ago, they're really into this thing called Minecraft, which is a video game, but it's kind of a creative thing. You can do stuff. And he was explaining all this stuff you could do, and none of it made much sense to me. And I was listening to him, and then they're trying to kill the final monster and all this stuff, and you do this and do this and do this, and then you make a bed. You build a bed. I'm like, what? And he goes, just go with it. I'm like, he's 7. He's telling me just go with it. And that's a lot about China. You're at an old village that's there that you've all these kind of older experiences, and all of a sudden, this Chinese techno music starts blasting with these guys with these huge pipes, and they're in synchronized puffing and stoking the fire. It's what is this?
Yeah.
And the answer?
Just go with it.
Just go with it.
Just go with it.
And it's awesome.
By the way, that wasn't the real music. That wasn't the real music.
That wasn't the real music.
No, but I was there. It was similar.
It was similar.
I know. It was similar. We had to find something in our music library that was just as cheesy and had to have the same beats per minute. Just so they would be pumping it in that and just put a little reverb on it. And no one's the wiser except all of you watching tonight.
Yeah.
No, China's a great place. And you really feel like a traveler when you go there.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily easy or the easiest place to go, but so what?
Yeah.
There's plenty of places to go that are easy.
Yeah.
You want a great experience, go to China.
Yeah, I agree.
Keep digging, folks.
Keep digging.
Absolutely.
Yeah, keep digging. Yeah.
Digging.
Good night, my love,
All right.
David. We will talk soon.
Good night, Samantha. Good
Thanks,
night,
everyone.
Kevin. Good night, all of my new friends.
And
in-
thank
in-
you
in
all.
Land.
What do you think? Yeah.